Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of our special build series. I think we can call that a special build series for the Planet Zoo Oceania Pack, which came out when you're watching this video on release day. So when I released this video, which came out 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, if I'm not incorrect. And today, as you could probably have already guessed, we are building for another animal of this amazing new pack by Frontier. And today we are building for one of the most iconic birds in the world, I should say, or at least in the whole region of Oceania. We are, of course, building for the kiwi. One of the most iconic animals as well of New Zealand, the land of the hobbits, the land of where all the amazing nature is, almost the land at the end of the world, basically, below Australia, close to Antarctica. Antarctica, I hope I don't confuse them with the Arctic. I think it's the Antarctica, and so a place so far away for some of us that we would have to travel a couple hours, maybe over 10 hours or more to get there. And we are building today for the kiwi, their national bird. Actually, it is their national animal bird. And here we are building a night house for the kiwi, as you could have probably guessed from the thumbnail, because the kiwi is a highly nocturnal animal, but we will talk about a little bit more about that later. Because before we talk about the kiwi itself and all its unique properties, basically, the plan for this video is, of course, the night house. But I thought, only a night house. You have probably seen that a couple times already, because with the new pack, almost everyone is building for the kiwi, and almost everyone is building a night house. It's like some people who think an outdoor enclosure in the bright sun is the best way for a kiwi. So I thought maybe something different also. So we are not only building a night house, we are also building a small museum in front of the enclosure for the kiwi, or the visitor area for the kiwi exhibit. A small museum showcasing some of the props that we got with the Oceania pack, like the tiki totems, like these special rudders, these ornamental rudders, the canoe pieces and stuff like that, the layers, so the flower bracelets and stuff like that. So we are building a small museum. You're seeing it developing here right now, and this here in the back will be the area for the kiwi. And at the moment we are, of course, focusing on the outside area, and you can probably guess from the time alone that this is a bit of a longer video, simply because I had to build the whole building with outside, inside, and everything in between. So this is why it takes a little bit longer, but I tried to cut the video to be as interesting as possible for you guys, and to leave some repetitive parts out, like placing the walls here. I didn't record that because it was basically just placing the wall over again over the whole area. But talking about the kiwi and its it being nocturnal, and I know some YouTubers have built daylight enclosures for the kiwi. They have built a mixture between daylight enclosures and inside night door houses for the kiwi. And I should say, I think, I know at least Caesar built that. He built an outside area and an inside area, and that is, I think, a fine thing to do. You can have kiwis, from what I heard, you can have them out in outside enclosures during the day. You will most likely never see them during the day, if it's an outdoor enclosure, because their eyes are super sensitive to daylight, to light itself, because they are adapted to the dark, to the night. So they usually avoid the daylight, or they avoid being outside when it's bright sun outside, because it would hurt their eyes. And sorry, by the way, if I'm sounding a bit more nasal, Some of you know I was sick the last week, or I got sick the last week, and I'm still a little bit recovering, so I also don't know if I will talk through the whole 24 minutes or 25 minutes of speed build here, or if I will make or stop a bit earlier than usual, and then you get some music. But yeah, for now it is okay, but we will talk about later. But yeah, you can have kiwis in outside enclosure. Some zoos do that, and some zoos, they are trained basically to go outside, or you can see them in the daylight outside, but it's usually not the preferred habitat or time, not habitat, but the preferred time for kiwis, because they are night hunters. They search for small insects and stuff like that during the night. And so night houses is what you most commonly see with kiwis, and what you maybe should consider when you're building for the kiwi. And yeah, Frontier did a little bit of a problem with that when they showcased the kiwi in the bright daylight during their trailers and promotion, stuff like that. But they wanted to show the kiwi in the best form possible. By the way, another small tip here: you see me building this nice, what is called fence, basically, with some of them iron bar pieces and the grassland poles, which are come very in handy. And yeah, this is because you should have at least a little bit of distance between the glass where the kiwi is and the guests, because kiwis are very shy creatures. Don't believe what Frontier tells you in the in-game Wikipedia, as they are confident there, and you can even have walkthrough enclosures with them. No, they are very shy creatures, so guests shouldn't be too close to the kiwi in order to not disturb them, to not stress them too much. So this is why I have this little barrier here. We can have some information panels on that later on, and we can have some plants in front of the kiwi enclosure to make it a bit more interesting, make it a bit more lush. So yeah, if you want to build that, it's basically grassland poles and iron bars from Europe pack, and the round metal rods from the Australia pack, I think. But as always, the whole build will be available on the workshop as soon as this video goes live. You will find the link down below in my description box, and then you can download the map and you can blueprint yourself the building from the map. I'm doing map blueprints, by the way, because there have been some problems with the recent update with some of the blueprints, and I just with habitat blueprints, I should say, and I just want to make sure that everything works for you, so you can blueprint it yourself, however you want to fit, or whatever parts you want to have of this exhibit, and then use it in your own zoos. But of course, if you are showcasing these in some public way, of course I would be happy to be mentioned, or at least say where you got it from. This is only nice, and yeah, because I also put a lot of work in these builds. I think for this one it was over 4 hours, I think close to 5 hours for the whole build in the end, if not even more. But yeah, this was the recording time. But yeah, kiwis, the national bird of New Zealand, is a red-tide, and some of you now might say, excuse me, Patrick, what did you just say? He's a red? No, he's a red-tide, and this is a species of birds, or a family of birds, which all of you, I'm very sure, have seen at this point in your life. I think most of them even in real life, because they are the family of birds that are these big birds, these big running birds that can't fly and that lay also big eggs. And I think we have almost all of them in game. Missing one species now. We have, of course, the ostrich, we have the cassowary, we have the emu since the grassland pack, and now we have the kiwi. And the only one we are missing now is the South American rhea. I was about to say North Island brown kiwi, but we have that now. It's the South American rhea. Yeah, these are called red-tides, a group of birds that are ginormous in their size. And to put it in perspective, because the kiwi is the smallest of them, but it still lays, I think, the biggest egg in the bird world, compared to its size, because the kiwi is around the size of the big chicken, but its egg is 6 times bigger than a regular chicken egg, and it fits inside the kiwi, which is incredible. Scientists are not sure why that is the case, why these eggs are still so big. but they believe it is because the kiwi has a close relation to the moha, which is a type of extinct red-tide, extinct big bird, even bigger than the ostrich today, which was hunted to extinction in the past, in the ancient times, and they are very close related to the moha. So that is most likely why they still have these big eggs. But right now we are building these showcases, these glass cases for some of the items we want to showcase in our museum, and we later will also add some information panels made by Lion, the wonderful information panels by Lion, which you can find on the workshop to give some more information for the guests in this area. And I didn't record it where I put these information panels on, because it's always the same. I go to the workshop object and take a sign, place it there, text another one. It's nothing really new for you guys to see here. But yeah, another thing, when you're building lighthouse, I'm jumping from topic to topic here, as you probably can guess, because my mind is also a bit, it's still a little bit funky with the whole sickness going on. But yeah, if you are building a lighthouse, there is no way to make it completely dark. You probably saw in the intro when I went through that door that I was in this dark area for the kiwi, this dark showcase area for the kiwi, and this was made by recording the same intro twice, once in the daytime, once in the nighttime, and then cutting them together so that it is a seamless transition between the two, so it looks like the back side would be dark. You can get really dark areas when you're placing a huge amount of terrain over this area, and because this is not really aesthetically pleasing, the only way to make it really dark in an area is to turn it nighttime while you are inside. And yeah, for night houses this works because you don't have nights there, you don't usually have windows in there, so that works. You only work with lights and stuff like that. But for areas which have natural light, which have openings, and this doesn't work because it looks it's nighttime outside. But still, so if you want to build night areas, you can use the nighttime to make it really dark and fitting for them. And yeah, now we are decorating the whole area with some plants. We're using a lot of tropical plants. We're using some of these new, I don't know what's it called, kahe. These very green bushes that you saw a couple seconds ago, and that are usually growing on walls, and I turned them into ground growing plants, basically because they have such a nice green texture. And now we are making the roof, and the specialty, or the special thing with this roof is that it is a night sky, so we have some lights in there. You will see in a couple of moments some light bulbs that simulate stars, basically. So we are walking through the store, is the imagination, into a forest opening, basically, and you're seeing the night sky above you, and then the kiwis in there, the dim light of the blue dim lights, basically like that. And a fun fact also, all of these constellations, these star constellations that I'm now building here, are real star constellations, most of them from the southern hemisphere. So you would see them when you are in New Zealand or in Australia, you would see them. But I also added some more. For example, now I'm building Orion the Hunter, and then there's some other, I almost forgot most of them. I also think the big bear and the small bear I'm adding, or Canis Major and Canis Minor. Some I will showcase later in the real-time part. But yeah, adding these real star constellations. And if you're downloading the map, you can search for some, and if you recognize, you can let me know if some of them you can recognize. They are maybe a little bit hidden, or maybe a little bit tricky to see because there are so many different other ones next to them, like in the real night sky. But it looks really, really cool when you are standing in this area at dark, it's nighttime, because there's all the skies, with all the lights going on. Then you have this blue ominous light from the Kiwi area, which is another thing we can talk about. Lighting in dark houses. No, I was saying lighting in night houses. Usually you want to use either red light or blue light, because birds can't see that because, not birds, animals can't see infrared light, and with certain blue colors they also can't see that if they are nocturnal. So for you guys, for our eyes, we can see the animals, we can see the surroundings of this area, but for the animal it looks completely dark. They can't see anything, or at least they can't, it is not as bright as it would be on daylight, so they don't feel disturbed by the amount of light. So if you want to build a night house yourself, focus on more red light and more blue light. I think some green tones are also fine, but you would have, I'm not too sure of that, so either do some research or someone else can correct me in the comments what colors exactly. But I know infrared and blue are colors the animals can't see, so it's perfect for our little area here. And I first had the lamps that are sitting on over the kiwi enclosure. I had them red, but I didn't really like the aesthetic. Looked too menacing, looked too aggressive, and I changed them to a dark blue tone that you also saw in the intro sequence. And yeah, I'm using a lot of mulch and using a lot of dirt in this enclosure because kiwis are foragers, so they search in the ground for their food. This is where they find their insects and stuff like that. So if you want to build a kiwi enclosure, I encourage you to build. You have a lot of dirt or mulch on the ground, a lot of leaves, which we will later add for them to search, for them to encourage searching, to entertain them, to enrich them with that. And also a lot of hidey holes, a lot of small areas where they can go through, like this big fallen log that I made here with the bark pieces from the tropical pack, I think it was, exactly. And then I hid the the burrow in there, for which they so that they can use that and can escape or can get to sleep, and they can actually use that. The hitbox on the kiwi, as with most of the animals from this pack, is really great. They can go in there. I had to tweak it a little bit here and there, but they can squeeze through and use the burrow. I tested myself, and I also saw them in the burrow. Of course, we also need to have a door for the keeper to get in there, as this is of course important. And yeah, I left a little bit of room behind the kiwi enclosure and the outside walls, so if you want to add a backstage area for the kiwi, if you want to put your keeper houses or your staff rooms in there later for feeding the kiwi or for other areas, stuff like that, you can do that with a little bit of tweaking. I don't know if the height is correct for the in-game staff facilities, but I think you can make it also easily higher, the whole area. And so now we are placing a lot of plants, we are placing of course a lot of palms and stuff like that, because it is very typical for the fauna, for the flora of New Zealand, having these giant ancient palm trees, not palm trees, fern trees and that. So it's a very almost dinosaur-esque forest that you have over there. And maybe I'm also thinking about maybe adding some mist in the enclosure, which is also very reminiscent of the forest in New Zealand. But for now, that is how it is. A lot of smaller ground plants, a lot of big ferns. And now we're adding a ton of leaves for the kiwi to search through, to search for food. And what did I talk about? I talked about the kiwi being nocturnal birds, so night houses are mostly the way to go, but you can of course have them in daylight enclosures. I talked about the build a little bit, which we will now slowly finish also with the outside area. And I also talked about the kiwi itself being a national bird and being a red-eyed, having a huge egg, so being really a very, very strange bird, so to say, like most fauna is in Australia and New Zealand. And now I'm noticing that my voice gets a little bit cracky, my throat gets a little bit dry, so I would say I will leave now the rest of the video with some music. It's only a couple minutes from now, and then I see you in the real-time part at the end, where we look at everything, how it looks now in the end result. And I hope you enjoyed the video so far. So enjoy some music, and I see you in the end part. Until then. Alright, as always, we are now in the real-time part at the end of the video where we look at the whole construction, the whole build in its, total completion, so to say. And we are standing right in front of the entrance to the Kiwi Night House and Museum. If you are downloading the map for yourself, and if you want to, you can of course also write like Kiwi Night House or a Night House or New Zealand Museum or something like that over this entrance. I just went with this lovely little kiwi sign here, and then two of these kiwi statues, as I always try to include these weird statues of all the animals in our builds. And yeah, really like how this one turned out with these sloped roofs on the side that kind of slope up to the roof over here, kind of a bit of like a modern Hobbit house, kind of was my idea. And of course also, which is of course because the Hobbit movies and the Lord of the Ring movies were filmed primarily in New Zealand. So yeah, kind of like this, with this overgrown roof that also extends to the bottom, a lot of plants, a lot of these new palm trees and tree ferns. And if we go inside, as always, of course, these amazing signs were made by Lion, which you can find on the workshop. So if you download them, give them a like, subscribe to this objects. They are really amazing. But yeah, we have this little museum here with a couple of pieces like these surfboards, this canoe. We have these tiki totems and these ornamental rudders or oars, I think as they're called, and tiki marks over here. And then of course some information about the pieces, so people can learn a little bit about the Polynesian, New Zealand, oceanic environment and history and stuff like that. This map is also made by Lion. Sadly, there wasn't a New Zealand map. New Zealand wasn't part of this map, so I only have Tasmania and Australia here. And I'm certainly not that good with pieces with these font pieces to make one myself, but still it looks pretty good. I also noticed this is lower down than this one. Okay, that I have to fix. Is this okay? I know what it is. Okay. Yeah. So okay, now quick fix during the showcase video. And we can continue, of course, because this is not the only room. We have a second room, and that we enter through here. And now we are in the Kiwi. Is the time stop? No, it's run. The Kiwi enclosure over here, where I don't see where the Kiwis are. One is over there, and I think one is underground sleeping. But yeah, this is the Kiwi enclosure by day, basically, and but for the real magic we have to turn it to nighttime. Yes, and then all the lights go on and we have this amazing blue coloration for the kiwi. There it is. Let me bring the kiwi a little bit down so we can see it actually. There is the kiwi. Exactly. Is he fine? I don't know. This always happens when if you wanna showcase something. I don't know if he's fine. He probably is. He doesn't move really. I don't know. But yeah, this is the Kiwi enclosure, the Kiwi Night House, and as I said, in the speed build, all these star signs are real star signs. For example, here we have the star sign Libra, and as I was showcasing the video, this is Orion, the hunters. Yeah, you can see Orion's belt with these three very significant stars aligning in one line. But yeah, really cool how it turned out. Really cool that they can use this area. The kiwi is gone. Okay, he now moves. Okay, good. There he is, running around in this little enclosure, going up. They also can, really easily go up here and over there. I try to keep it as dark as possible. Of course, we have some lights on the ground to let our visitors know where this room ends if they are not that good with their eyes, so they know where the wall is. And of course, then we have this these stars shining and lighting a little bit the path in the way, so they know where to go to and what to see. And yeah, then we have the kiwi, almost in darkness, a little bit of blue, there almost like moonlight shining on it. And yeah, I really like how this whole area turned out. How all of it, they're just adorable. I think they're one of my favorite. Yeah, they could be the favorite animal of this pack alongside the blue penguin. Um, just because they're so adorable. But yeah, this is basically it for this build. As always, you can download the build yourself and explore it yourself. The moment this video goes live, the link will be on the workshop, and then you have all of it for yourself, for your own zoos and your creations and stuff, whatever you have planned. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. You had a lot of fun with it, and I hope I see you in the next one next week, where we will build for the Tasmanian Devil. And until then, I wish you the greatest of times. Stay safe, and bye bye everyone.